level of service for the money that we pay. And I would say an even higher level of service, because when it comes to tax money, that's not money that we pay. That's money that is taken. You don't got no choice. You don't pay your taxes, you go to jail. Are we getting the level of service that we should be getting for the money that we are paying? Milwaukee is an expensive city. Wisconsin is somewhat of an expensive state. I've heard that. I've heard people moving out of Milwaukee, moving out of the county because it's expensive, because our taxes are high. Okay, cool. But for our taxes being high, for the people that are here, that are okay with paying the income taxes that we pay here, the state income tax is 6%, the property taxes that we pay where that goes up consistently, are we getting a level of service for the money that we are paying? And if not, why not? Because that's their fault. If you're going to collect my money, you're going to take my tax dollars, provide me a level of service, or give my money back. You understand it? If you can't provide the service because I'm black, because I'm poor, because I live in this census tract or this zip code, cool, give me my money and let me make choices with my money, since you can't provide the services with what I'm paying you. If I don't like the airline, if I don't like the little peanuts they give me in the little bag, if I don't like the snacks in their menu, and if I don't like the customer service of the flight attendants, I then am going to take my money and get on Spirit Airlines and get on another airline. I have that choice. I gave you my money. I didn't like the service I was receiving. You didn't take care of me to the way and the level I wanted to get taken care of. Then give me my money back. Let me go fly Delta. Well, maybe not Delta. They falling out of the sky too, ain't they? What's one that's not falling out of the sky? Well, Spirit. Soul Plane. Get up on a Spirit airplane. It's Kevin Hart. He the flight attendant and the pilot. Let's talk to Martin. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Sherwin, you're smoking this morning.
Thanks, Martin.
I had to mess with you. Hey, check this out.
Martin, I just didn't want to go to Arizona.
You all right today?
Yes.
You smoking, though.
What?
So check this out.
Smoking the microphone, not smoking something else. Okay.
I agree. Look at the past generations of MPS parents that was graduated, okay? As far as the 50-year-olds right now, the 60s, and some of the 40s.
Okay.
Back then when MPS had things that was fruitful for you, that taught you something, that actually put a skill into you, that actually taught you nursing, that actually taught you different specialties. As generations went on and the racism came back and strategized more than ever, okay, MPS possessed an all-black cast of students at one point before white flight took. After white flight, I should say. So if you look at the young slave quarters that they have today, when you graduate from MPS, as they pass you along, you got 2 years of remedial courses before you even take your college electives. So you got 2 years you behind, plus you behind 2 more years, so you're really behind 4 years. So if you ain't smart enough to have somebody teach you or be self-taught, because back in the days we had different commercials that would teach us as society would teach us. But now society don't teach us. They rely on you to teach yourself by ill things and by mess-ups. So I had a letter from Norquist. He wanted to make sure the reading proficiencies was lower, okay? And if I keep a generation from learning and I keep them from prospering, I can hold them back.
He wanted to make sure reading proficiency was lower or higher?
Lower. I got the letter. What they did, they recycled the city paper with the probation office so people could have scrap paper. And I got the note. I got to find it. It's just somewhere in the archives. And he wanted to make sure the reading proficiencies were low. I read it over and over.
Yeah, you need to find that for me, because he was a stickler on high-performing schools, and he believed in parental choice, because you can't build a good, strong city if you got poor schools, because parents will not want to come here, and they will not want to start families here and buy houses here if the schools were poor. So you said he wanted proficiency to be low. So he wanted kids to read more poorly, is what you're saying?
Yeah, for real.
Now, I need to see that letter, because I don't believe that about Mayor Norquist.
I got to find it.
All right, find it and call me back, because that goes contrary to his legacy.
one more thing before I leave. That's when I found out Peter blew it. That's when I found out they had a $1 billion budget. MPS did.
Okay.
But Peter blew it. That time we had him on the radio. So, yeah, man, they got money. They just ain't going to teach us nothing. I'm out, Black.
All right, then. We'll see you later.
I'm sorry I lied to you, Martin. I just didn't want to go to Arizona.
I'm sorry I lied to you, Martin. I just didn't want to go to Arizona.
Let's talk to Al. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you, Al?
I'm doing wonderful and happy Monday. I will say it's a different class of parenting from back then to now, especially after the crack and cocaine in the 90s and then, you know, they didn't have their offspring with the crack babies, and some of these 2000 babies is a trip. So some of that is going to be exploited from a certain class of parents that we have today. But the only thing you basically can do is just the kids are just going to have to be a product of some of the parents who did not do their part, because you're going to have good teachers and you're going to have some bad teachers. You're going to have parents who's in there and you're going to have parents who don't give a damn, but they always going to make them go to church on Sunday. Moving forward, I heard you bring up Trump's name, and I know Trump was a failed businessman that brings out the worst in humanity and the worst in people. But my question I would like to ask you, Alan, Brian, Eddie, White Widow, and Al from Sherman Park, and I'm asking respectfully, how can some of them say it's all about America first when you have a African who came here illegally, according to his brother, dictate and be in charge of your of United States of America, the same African who's taken away things from real Americans who worked in foundries, factories, and done everything the American way. And I know those Republicans been very, 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 very quiet about that. And I was just trying to understand, you know, why is it y'all are so quiet? Because I know if this African was black, it'd be all kind of hell. But I know when it comes to African that's coming over here, especially seeing that Africans are too dumb, and he want his people to come over here, I don't hear none of them say anything. And within that question, I was going to ask some of these Republicans who are diehard Republicans, what is the problem with white guilt when it comes to some racist white people? They have no problem speaking their heart, and you allowed to be a racist or a Republican, but y'all have so many issues with white guilt. So I'm just trying to get an understanding from these diehard Republicans, because y'all are so quiet.
Al, when you say they have an issue with white guilt, better explain that for me. Who do they have an issue with having white guilt?
Well, you know, the things that some of their kin folks have did to black people, the way they speak about black people, but then when you bring it to their face and you call them on their stuff, now they play the victim. Oh, I don't want to hear that. Oh, that's not what I meant. But then in the same token, all of them did not come all of them didn't come with a silver spoon in their mouth. Some of them came from very rural towns. Some of their mothers and fathers did not know how to read or write, but they knew how to raise their ass the right way. They knew how to provide. But what happened was they got a taste of life, and they learned their white privilege. Some of their parents was greasers, dope fiends, alcoholic, woman beaters, and used to beat the hell out of some of their parents, and used to touch on some of their kids, because some of their kids used to get sent away because they didn't want the dad. They didn't want the people in the neighborhood to know that the daddy actually slept with his daughter, you know. But then they come pushing all this rhetoric. So when you bring them stuff from history, then they play victim. So I was just trying to get an understanding from these diehard Republicans, because right now you have farmers that might have to claim bankruptcy. You got somebody in Texas just committed suicide, you know, because he feel he about to lose his job, and this is coming from the Republican Party that they voted for, but they're so quiet. So I just wanted to call and ask, this information, and maybe one of these diehard Republicans will call in and share their information. Like with black people, they tell them take your black ass back to Africa, but I have not heard them say anything about a diehard African that's more actually racist than them, and look at them as being bottom feeders.
All right.
I have not heard none of these diehard Republicans say that. So I was just called to ask that question, and maybe you can elaborate, but I'm going to hang up and listen.
All right.
Have a good day.
All right. You too there, Al.
I'm sorry I lied to you, Martin. I just didn't want to go to Arizona.
I'm sorry I lied to you, Martin. I just didn't want to go to Arizona.
So why I think they aren't telling Elon Musk to go back to Africa, and if Donald Trump is promoting, America first, then why do we have a South African national who has so much influence and power over Donald Trump and the federal government? Is because you can be from a foreign country and also do stuff for America. Like Einstein helped us invent the atom bomb. So we always will find people from other countries. Maximilius von Braun, he's a German Nazi that we brought him over here to help us start NASA. So there'll always be a foreigner that can help us with American interests. So there's that. And I don't think that conservatives are guilty at all. I don't think they're at all guilty about, what black people have gone through. And they don't take any responsibility for it. And quite honestly, should they? If they didn't, I see it from their perspective. Like, what is a white person right now that never owned slaves? Like, what do they owe me? Their bank account? Like, what do they owe me? Like room and board? What do they? And I get it, they have some white privilege, but how am I supposed to extract that from them? Because even if I extract whatever white privilege they have and you turn it into a benefit for me, like money or something, they still have white privilege. And what does a white person give me to make up for the centuries of oppression to where the oppression goes away? You can give me a bunch of money. Oh, Sherwin, you are descended from slaves and you faced institutional and structural discrimination and racism. Here's $400,000. Cool, thank you. Is $400,000 going to stop the structural and systemic racism that exists right now? No, it won't. It'll just give me $400,000. Let's talk to, is this Carolyn, Rick, on line 3? Okay, let's talk to Carolyn. Carolyn, you're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
Hello, Mr. Sherwin. How you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
Good. Just sitting here and been listening to you guys for the last 2 weeks. Y'all making me miss my church radio, but I have been just following all the stuff that's been going on with MPS. Mind you, I don't have any children in MPS, and I've been listening to your callers, and I just feel so very sad that it seemed like you guys at the Good Karma Station is working harder than these parents. Like, they know all this stuff because you guys are deciphering the information to them. What are they doing? Are they just still sitting at home? Are they not going to the board meetings? Are they not going up to the school?
No.
What is
They're not. And also, they don't listen to us. I think that's the misnomer because we're oftentimes talking to people who are already informed. The people that need the information do not listen to talk radio. They just don't. They never have.
I know they got to read something online about that. I mean, you can't just send your kid out of the house and not know that something is wrong. This is almost like crazy to me because, like I said last week when I was talking to Tori, I said my ex-husband used to go to MPS, and he talked about some of the same issues that you guys are talking about now, and that man is 71 years old. That's a problem. It's like, what is it? I hear the callers asking, what do we do and stuff. And in my mind, the only thing that's going to fix this is that those parents, they got to get off their behinds and get up to that school district and get involved. And everybody keep on saying they can't do nothing. Yes, they can.
They have to first be informed. And what I'm saying is I'm not just blaming. Yes, the parents, of course, have some blame that they can take, and the kids got some blame too. But also, we're letting white teachers and administrators off the hook because they don't want to engage with our parents. I assure you, Carolyn, there's some school districts in the state of Wisconsin, probably in Milwaukee County, where if a teacher is very concerned about a child or if a teacher wants to provide information to a family, that teacher will go to that parent's house. That ain't happening here.
You're right.
They will go
You
and say,
right about
hey,
that,
Mrs. So-and-so, want to let you know I've got your son in my math class. Here's what's going on. I wanted to tell you directly because I'm a teacher and I am paid to care about your child and I am paid to share this information with you as well. They're not doing that here. So, yes, some parents can take some blame. The kids can take some blame. But we cannot let people that don't live